1915, the town of Falls Church attempted to, or suggested that they would pass an ordinance which essentially would segregate housing. 9 men came together, led by Dr. Edwin B. Henderson and Joseph Tenner. They called a meeting at Mr. Tenner's home. Mr. Tenner was an outspoken representative of the African American community. He was an outstanding orator, and Dr. Henderson was a school teacher and involved with the NAACP. And when the town of Falls Church decided to pass this ordinance, these men got together and decided that they would not just accept the ordinance, that they would fight against it. The ordinance was never enacted, so it was a victory. This group went on to become the first rural branch of the NAACP in 1918.
Around over 2 years ago, the Chino Hill Heritage Foundation looked at the many programs that we were doing. We decided that everything we did under the rubric of making history visible would give us a focus and a kind of determination, because history, as important as it is, can get overlooked. You can bypass it, you can not read something. So we wanted to make sure that in every way that was available to us or that we could invent, we could make that history much more visible than it had been.
So the Mural project is extremely important to Falls Church. It's going to help bring history to life. Remembering our history is a tool for creating a better future. We need to preserve a record of what's happened and ensure that the mistakes of the past aren't repeated. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to have a mural like this here in our city.
So the artwork will not only tell the story of the past, it will inspire. Hopefully it will be an aspirational piece so that people can look at the past and think about how they can impact the future.
What are you inspired to do in our community?
So Amazon's Housing Equity Fund is our $2 billion commitment to creating and or preserving 20,000 affordable housing units in 3 jurisdictions where we're expanding our corporate presence. The first is the Arlington, Washington, D.C. region. Second is Nashville, Tennessee. And the third is the Puget Sound in Washington state. And what we're trying to do is focus on 3 specific areas: preservation of existing affordability. What we're seeing in each of the regions is that the loss of affordability is a real challenge, and we want to make sure that mission-driven organizations have tools that they need to be able to preserve existing affordable resources. The second area is supporting non-traditional public agencies that are working in affordable housing. We're seeing a lot more transit agencies, schools, libraries, and the like, willing to offer land and other resources to help create affordable housing. And the third area is minority developers and minority-led organizations, and being thoughtful about who we're partnering with, not just the customers that we're benefiting, and making sure that we have an equitable approach. Given that we are a private corporation looking to invest, we were able, for example, to invest in Crystal House. Traditional government sources would not have been able to make Crystal House possible. Crystal House is a market rate building, and it will be converted into a workforce housing property over the next 5 years. Traditional government affordable housing sources would not be able to make that deal possible. So we're looking for those kinds of creative solutions, like Crystal House and the work that the Washington Housing Conservancy is doing, to also provide not just the housing, but the wraparound social services, and looking to promote them and looking to make sure that they have the resources that they need to be able to innovate in the area of affordable housing. While the governments, local governments, state governments, federal governments are primarily responsible for addressing housing affordability issues, there's a role for corporations like Amazon. And there are a number of corporations that have leaned in on the affordable housing issues in the region, and we're proud to be doing our part as well. So now I want to know, what are you inspired to do in your community?
Micron is a high-tech company that provides memory and storage solutions. We have more than 40,000 team members around the globe, and about 1,600 of them in Manassas, Virginia. In order for Micron to be able to expand in Virginia, we needed to ensure that we have the technical workforce that we need. And that is why we partnered with Nova, and we helped them establish the Mechatronics Engineering Technology program, as well as a fab lab at their Manassas campus. Through that program, Nova students, as well as K-12 students from varied socioeconomic backgrounds, income levels, and nationalities, have access to the cutting-edge technology in the fab lab. And that serves as a gateway to careers in STEM, as well as inspiration to younger generations towards STEM pathways. Through donations and volunteering, Micron promotes STEM education, career awareness, and preparedness for K-12 students that include underrepresented populations. The Community Foundation provides outreach into all of Northern Virginia, and that's why Micron has partnered with the Community Foundation.
The Micron Opportunity Fund has enabled us to provide engagement for girls at an early age. We as an organization talk about often the first drop-off in terms of girls' participation in the STEM pipeline, and that's middle school. We look to solve the issues that are causing that drop-off in middle school to happen. Early engagement, early opportunities, early places where we can also identify community need and support that accordingly. We can provide the best STEM program we could possibly imagine in a community, but if we've got a kid who's hungry, they've got other things that are a priority within that space. So being able to meet those community-based needs and then provide access to opportunity through skill sets is where we really get to leverage the full talent pool that we have around us, right? And being able to have the communities that we're serving now in terms of additional opportunities also work to be the innovators and the problem solvers of tomorrow.
What are you inspired to do in our community?
What are you inspired to do in our community?
So the Coalition for Smarter Growth was founded in 1997 by some of the leading conservation groups in the DC region, including Sierra Club, Piedmont Environmental Council, Chesapeake Bay Foundation, and others. Our mission is to create a world of walkable, bikeable, inclusive, and transit-oriented communities as the most sustainable and equitable way for our region to grow. The vision that we have captured in our Blueprint for a Better Region is of a network of these walkable, transit accessible places. In the process, we use less land, we create better access to opportunity, we reduce air and water pollution. And now, in today's day and age, it's also important to recognize that it is a critical solution for addressing climate change. So Fairfax Healthy Communities stem from a meeting we had prior to the last Fairfax County elections for supervisor, where we came together and brought together our conservation groups, housing groups, transit advocates, bicycle pedestrian advocates, and social equity advocates, and came up with a combined, what's loosely called platform, an educational piece about how all these issues of land use, housing, transportation, the environment, and equity are all connected. And we're focused on promoting a common set of policies. And we've been really encouraged by all of these groups working together. Where we're going now, we have the NAACP involved and the South County Task Force involved, which are both working on social equity issues. We are also looking to involve other groups in that vein, including groups like CASA, Virginia New Majority, Tenants and Workers United. And the good news is that if we create a world where it is safer to walk and bike, where everybody has an affordable place to live, that we are dealing not only with today's problems and challenges for our families, but we're dealing with the big problems like reducing the greenhouse gas emissions that contribute to climate change. And what are you inspired to do in our community?